we had the opening press conference and announced that the Giants were coming to Tampa Bay. Big headlines in the newspaper.
We printed up special sections. I still have a copy. Tampa Bay has a giant deal.
Well, for those of you new to our city, Tampa is a baseball town. We have more than 100 years of baseball history here, from being a spring training destination to being the hometown to many MLB stars. Baseball is truly Tampa Bay's favorite pastime. But given the history of the sport in our city, it was not easy to get a major league franchise. Dave Worth is a familiar face here, the former sports director and sports anchor here at 10 Tampa Bay. And WEDU president and CEO Paul Grove is here to chat about the new documentary, Rise of the Rays, a devil of a story. So welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, so I love the name, A Devil of a Story, and we'll get into that in just a bit. But Dave, you kind of lived through a lot of this, getting the Tampa Bay Rays here, and it wasn't easy, to say the least. 7 times we tried and failed. Why is that?
For a while there, I lost track.
Right.
Because it was an ongoing story, back and forth, back and forth. But I learned quickly that this is the way baseball operates.
Okay.
It'll take them several months to order lunch.
Oh,
Baseball just moves very slowly. When I got here in, October of 1984, part of the attraction was that this was a growing community, great for sports, but more sports coming. They're talking about baseball. It seems to be very close. That's what I was told when I got here in 84. Another 10 or 15 years later, finally, yeah, but it took a long time.
Right. Wow. So, Paul, you kind of lived this as well.
Yeah, with Dave.
Yeah. So what was the most intriguing? I know you have said that it's one of the most intriguing and frustrating stories in Tampa Bay history. Like, why is that?
It was because, 30 years it's been, and no one's told this story, but the really interesting part is how many times these unsung heroes like Frank Morsani and Rick Dodge worked so hard to bring a franchise here, and how many times they were heard to say, no, 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 you're not getting this team. But for WEDU and PBS, we're a long-form documentary storytelling, so it was a perfect opportunity to tell that story that's not been told in 30 years.
Right, and part of the story that you tell in this documentary is that we almost got the White Sox. So let's watch a quick clip of that.
The White Sox were coming to St. Pete.
And here comes midnight. And here we go past midnight and no decision. And I remember thinking, well, that's it then. We have a baseball team.
A local TV announcer is going, it's midnight. They're moving to St. Pete. Yeah.
Okay, so we are not the White Sox. So what happened?
Wow. Well, you got to watch the documentary to find out. But the clip one thing I noticed about the clip that I remember was the clock.
Right.
Because there was a clock in the Illinois legislature. They had a midnight deadline. Either find the money for a new stadium or that's it. Well, I believe we're all watching. Here in the Bay Area, the clock is moving closer to midnight. They don't have a deal. Hey, baseball's going to come here. Except the clock stopped.
Oh.
Literally. Somebody pulled the plug on the clock. It literally stopped. And they kept talking and negotiated. And finally, the state of Illinois, in their great wisdom, eventually deep into the night, found the money.
Wow.
With the clock stopped at midnight, yeah.
That's amazing. But it was meant to be because we got to build our own franchise. Do you think that was better in the long run?
Oh, that's a great question. Would we have wanted the Giants? Would we have wanted the White Sox? I love the Rays. I love everything about how it happened. I mean, it makes it a little sweeter after 7 failures. And at the same time, it's something that I'll tell you, there's a whole generation out there that has no idea that this happened, that there were 7 failures. They're just all about Tampa Bay. We've got Tom Brady. We've got the Rays, going to with the Dodgers to the World Series. And my gosh, the Lightning are these dominators in hockey. But we tell them the story as fathers to my sons that it wasn't that way always, and it does make it sweeter. So I love the Rays just the way they are.
So I have to ask each of you, what was it like when we actually did get a team? Do you remember that day? And what
absolutely. It was one of the greatest things for the Bay Area by far. I mean, steeped in history, and really the part in the documentary that's very interesting is how Tampa versus St. Petersburg were vying for things. Who got the international airport? Tampa did. Who got the football team? Tampa did. St. Petersburg said, enough of this, we're going to win, and they did win a baseball team in the end.
Wow, what do you remember about that day?
Well, that day, it was a lot of it was relief.
Yeah.
Honestly, because we could all see it coming. It's going to come, but it's baseball. It's going to take a long time. But finally, when it did, it was great. We've got baseball, but it was a load off all of our shoulders. Finally, we can start talking about baseball, building a team, getting everybody together, and forget about all these dealings with Major League Baseball, because that was not the fun part.
Right, okay, so real quick, we only have about a minute left, but the Devil Rays, what did you think of the name when you first heard it?
Honestly, at first, I didn't know what a Devil Ray was. And then secondly, I'd talked to a lot of people over the years when they were still the Devil Rays, people who would not go to a game because they were very religious. And with the word devil in the name, no, we don't want any part of it. It was several people that I knew. I remember that.
Interesting, what did
And
you think?
we have a little piece on WEDU.org/raise with digital stories in addition to the documentary. And the original name is going to be the Stingrays.
Okay.
And that's a great name.
Yeah.
I mean, the Corvette, the Stingray, oh my gosh,
right.
it's a great thing. But they had a contest, Devil Rays or Manta Rays.
Okay.
I didn't like either of those.
Yeah.
I love Stingrays.
Yeah.
But now
Now's
they
the
do a great
best.
job with just Rays.
I like it.
Yeah,
Keep
me
it
too.
simple. Well, thank you both. It was such an honor to speak with
Thank
you.
you.
And the documentary, Rise of the Rays, A Devil of a Story, premieres tonight at 9 o'clock. You can go to WEDU.org to learn more and to watch clips. In fact, you can watch the entire movie, correct?
Yes.
Right now on WEDU.com.